Cubs officially added Colin Rea to their roster. Remember, they signed the pitcher last week, or at least it was reported last week. Michael Arias is the guy that's the odd man out on the 40-man roster. He's been DFA'd. What does that mean for the Cubs? He's one of their top prospects. We're going to talk about that right here on the Cubs baseball channel. Let's go. What do you say, everybody? Welcome to the Cubs baseball channel. Just a quick show today to talk about Michael Arias, who is one of the Cubs' top prospects and a guy that was designated for assignment by the Cubs as they added Colin Rea to their roster. Now, you guys probably remember, but maybe you don't. Arias is a 23-year-old. He was put on the Cubs 40-man roster last year to protect him when he was going to probably be picked up in the Rule 5 draft, right? And he's a converted infielder turned reliever. 2024 spent, his minor league season, AA Tennessee and AAA Iowa. And in 60 innings, he had a 4.77 ERA. And he was kind of a late inning relief guy. He has electric stuff. I mean, he can throw at 98 miles an hour. And then he's got a slider that people think could be really good and a changeup that people think could be really good. Doesn't have great command yet, but, I've seen him ranked as high as the 11th best Cubs prospect, depending on what service. Anyway, he's a top 20 prospect for the Cubs in their system, and they have time to either trade him or if he cleared, then they could re-sign him and assign him to the minor leagues. But somebody's going to pick this guy up. So it's just a matter of, where the 23-year-old is going to end up. So looking at Fangraphs, they have him as the 11th best prospect. They say his fastball sits 60, slider between 45 and 55, changeup 50 and 60, but command is a 20 and 30. And that's exactly what I saw when I saw the Dominican native pitch. He's got really good movement, fastball that gets on you pretty quick. The changeup's very good, but it doesn't always know where the ball's going when he lets it go. And that's something that a guy who was a former infielder trying to convert to a pitcher would have to work on, right? The Cubs are going to make moves like this, adding guys like Colin Rea. It's a must-win season for the Cubs, and they're probably looking at Arias and going, okay, AA had a 3.75 ERA. AAA was 5.35, right? Better hitters. He's not ready to go to the major leagues right now. You want to have time. This is definitely a project guy. When you take a former infielder, then you turn him into a pitcher. And I don't think that the Cubs right now have the luxury of a whole lot of project guys. And we did the video on Brooks Raley, and it kind of felt a little bit similar, although Raley has the success at the major league level. But if you sign a guy who's coming off of Tommy John and is not going to be ready for July, your whole front office could be pretty much out by July. So the Cubs have a sense of urgency with this front office. They're only signed for one more year. They've been there for a while, going back to when Theo took over, and it is a must-win season. And you're already seeing this organization go out and try to get as much pitching depth as they can with the available budget that they have. And so Arias, even with a sinker that goes 98 miles an hour and, pretty good developing secondary pitches, is a guy, even with 2 minor league options remaining, that the Cubs don't have room on their 40-man roster for. So you're seeing some of these guys who, were kind of like the fringe guys on the 40-man roster off for players that they feel like are going to be able to help them at the major league level. And Colin Rea is definitely a help now guy. I'm guessing putting in the 4th or 5th spot in the Cubs starting rotation and then kind of sliding everyone back. So I'm thinking that this guy's going to be picked up by somebody else. The team's going to get a pretty good pitcher that we might look back at in a couple years and go, man, I can't believe the Cubs had him and they let him go. If you're watching this video in 2 years, it's not that the Cubs don't think the guy can pitch. It's just that they don't have room on the 40-man roster to develop him with, a team that has to win now. And you need those spots for guys that can come in immediately, from April on. Even really for the Cubs, they played 2 games in Japan in March. So from March on and contribute. And he's not one of those guys. He's not there yet. But what I saw with him in the minor leagues was exactly what I just told you. Really, really good fastball, not a lot of command, changeup's good, slider's good, but a lot of inconsistency. Now, the other thing that you like about this guy too is that he can give you more than one inning. And sometimes he's better in the second inning than he is in the first inning. You see a lot of guys that come in their first inning's really good, and then the second one they don't have the same stuff. It sometimes takes him a little while to warm up and get going. So anyway, just throwing that out there for you guys today. Wanted to talk about that with that move being made on the 40-man roster and what that means to the Cubs. This isn't an enormous move, but this is one that you might look back at in a couple years and go, man, I can't believe we had him. And when we did, we didn't keep him, and I just, like I said, it's just a matter of numbers right now for this Cubs team as they move forward. All right, like, subscribe, thumbs up. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe somebody doesn't pick him up, but I think that they'll end up moving him, getting something for him. Somebody's going to want this guy, throwing 98 with, a little bit of development to go and help their pitching staff down the road. Go Cubs.